Welcome back to BaldHeaded Metal, guys. My name is Joseph. Today I got something special for you. Now, I've been promising to do an Insomnium full album reaction, and it's just I have been having a very hard time to actually sit down for 1 hour, with commentary, an hour and a half, to do a bunch of reactions, just because based on time, I don't have a lot of time usually. So what I decided to do today is I'm going to react to the whole new Argent Moon EP from the beginning to the end, and I'll do each of the music videos in the order that it was in the EP. So I thought it'll be a nice way to at the very least do at least an EP reaction of something that's new material from Insomnium. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this approach. Obviously, if it's music videos with Insomnium, usually the video would be blocked if I have the video playing. Just know I'll be looking at the music video, but I'll probably blur it out for you guys during the reaction, unfortunately, because they've basically blocked it almost every single time when I put it on YouTube. Anywho, let's get right into it. I haven't heard any of these songs. I know there's going to be 4 different songs, and we'll just go through them right away in one video. They usually have very beautiful scenery in their music, so it's a shame that I have to like blur it out. The Conjurer. What we got here? Right off the bat, I wanted to kind of mention to perhaps somebody new coming to this channel, something that I've always liked about Insomnium from all the songs that I've reacted to, is they're not afraid to take songs slow and just have these very melancholy, kind of beautiful guitar leading melodies. And it on the surface seems very simple and simplistic almost in songwriting, but in reality it's probably so hard to write and make them as emotional as they are. The volume is a little low, but it's alright. I really like his growls. I think I've mentioned it quite a few times. I think they're just crisp and clean and controlled. I mean, they're just... They put what I like about Insomnium, which is something different from a band I just reacted to on the previous video that you probably will see throughout the week, Stamina, is that they're just... The Insomnium are professionals. They take themselves very seriously. They're musicians. They don't have any gimmicks. They don't have any... kind of more adolescent approaches to their music, which heavy metal for a long time got criticized for being very adolescent and kind of just rebellious for the sake of rebellion. They really take themselves seriously as musicians, and you can see it in every aspect from their music videos, production, and their songwriting, and I really appreciate it, especially being more mature now in this day and age when I listen to music. That's the only thing, it's a very low volume. I wish I could hear it a little bit better, but... Probably the recording. I miss winter like this. Let me rewind just a little bit. When she was this, I miss this so much because I'm originally from Russia myself, and even in the south of Russia, we would have snow like this, and especially when my mom grew up as a kid. Like I know United States has a lot of snow in certain regions of more northern regions of United States, but I live in New York City, especially being on the coast near the ocean. We've had maybe 2 or 3 times where it really snowed like that, and just the beauty of snow laying all across, especially when you're in a more suburban area with the trees. It brings so many like wonderful memories as a kid growing up in Russia. I also appreciate a heavy metal band with good music videos, because I think most music videos for heavy metal are pretty basic, and they don't really offer much on display, or they just go for lyrical videos, which a lot of times are, you know, as it was corrected by me when I interviewed Ethereum. They talked about how sometimes they don't have the budget to make a music video, they don't have the time to make a music video, they're just doing it just for marketing purposes. So that I kind of learned that little tidbit from there. But I always appreciate that they have very nice visual imagery to their music, which I think is important because they have this kind of like doom metal, melodic death metal vibe to their music that just creates an atmosphere and a feeling. And these music videos only add to it more, I think. You know, I think with a band like Insomnium, it'll be an easy way for me to introduce, let's say, a friend who's not super into heavy metal or doesn't like growling. This is a perfect band to get somebody to into that genre of music, because I think they found a very nice blend of something that's more, I don't want to say commercial, but accessible. Something that's more accessible to a wider audience, but without losing its heart and soul and rawness, I would say. Despite the fact, you know, when we say raw, we tend to think it's fast and loud, and production quality is kind of lower. That's what people back in the day, metalheads, used to think. I don't know, it maintains its soul in music while still being more accessible to a wider audience, which I think why they've garnered such a big popularity and love through all these kinds of fans. And I think the first time I dismissed this band was because they were a little bit slower. This was way back, like 6-7 years ago. Yeah, the trees with snow on them. Oh, that's beautiful. That was a nice, beautiful, emotional kind of solo. Yeah, I think I really want to see them live when touring really kind of opens up again in United States here, and they come to visit New York. I for sure want to go see Insomnium live. I think it'll be an awesome time. And I would assume they're going to be tuned very well too, because a lot of melodic death metal and death metal bands tend to be tuned way too high up, or the bass is too high. You don't even hear the guy's vocals, and the guitars are barely heard. I went to see Megadeth 2 weekends ago, and it was the sound. I was surprised how good the sound was tuned with Lamb of God and Megadeth. It's hard to understand what's going on in this music video without obviously reading the lyrics, and it's not something I can understand from a first time listen, just hearing him on the song. But I think in general with bands like this, it seems to be more metaphoric and poetic in their lyrics. So it's something that you have to kind of, I believe, hear multiple times to really dissect and see what kind of meaning you extract from it yourself. And of course, later on, bands themselves kind of give you their interpretations of the songs they've written. By Finland, yeah, anybody from Finland, thank you guys for producing so much high quality melodic death metal coming from your country. I feel proud for you. I know you guys feel proud yourselves. I feel proud for you, just how much music comes out of there. Now, on to the second song from the Argent Moon EP is the Reticent. I'm probably mispronouncing it. I really like the fact that they did official music videos for every single one of these songs. This one's a little bit shorter too. Let's see what I'm going to be looking for. If there's only 4 songs, I wish there's a different song structure, perhaps different speed to some of the songs, different songwriting to kind of differentiate the 4 songs. Because if they all kind of go into that slower rhythm that the first song was going, I think it's going to be a little bit one note. But from what I understand, that they have really great variety in songwriting. So let's see what they got here. They really they don't hold back. They really spend money to make good music videos. I like his clean vocals. I know I said that before. I really like his clean vocals here. I know there's like one song I think he did that I reacted to where I actually said I didn't like his clean vocals, and then the other songs I reacted I said I really do. I guess just a different approach he chooses for one of the songs. But yeah, initial reaction, I like it very much. And I also like in their music videos, at the very least, it looks like they don't use a crap ton of CG. For example, I like Behemoth's music videos, but it's essentially a CG fest most of the time. It's done well, but it's a CG fest.
Where I belong, I keep falling deeper into the hole, disconnected, all alone. Through it all, will we fall? We don't breathe fear, we fight, we
Right away, something that stands out in this song to me is the layering. There's so many layers, you know, the bass, the guitars, the drums, the keyboards, the different vocal approaches with everything. It's a very nice layering, and production wise sounds really crisp and clean, which I think is so important in music like this, to be able to hear everything. And it looks like they go for the same thematic across music videos.
My mind is racing, lost train of thought, eyes unfocused, tired of this world. These walls will collapse, wash out to the sea, and I'll float along, let the stream carry me. Through it all, will we fall? We don't breathe fear.
I really like this melody in the chorus, and I like this song more. Right off the bat, this connects with me so much more. I feel like the first song has this very strong lyrical component. I mean, it feels like lyrics are always a big part of the music, but here there's like the music just kind of, I don't know, it hit me on an emotional level that the first one did, but not as much. I like this song more. I really enjoyed this one. I'm sure there's some metaphor to the music video too, because the whole music video takes place in this hangar, and maybe it has some kind of metaphorical meaning that the person is locked themselves inside, or they're locked in their own darkness, and they're struggling to see the light, and the memory of his loved one is going to make him come out. So perhaps there's some kind of connection to that. But I'm not sure. Again, it's the first time hearing the song. Can't discern the lyrics, obviously, with a melodeath kind of vocals. So maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong here, but at the very least, the imagery is really nice. Yeah, that was cool. That was a really good song. I think The Wanderer is gonna be next. Let's see. So actually, the next song is gonna be The Antagonist. Also music video, like we talked about. It's nice thematically to keeping that thing going. So far, the first two songs are really good. I really enjoy them. I do have to say the thing about Insomnium for me on a personal level is they emotionally hit, because I talk a lot about that emotionally has to affect me, and that logically that I can understand certain things. So they emotionally affect me. I think they write wonderful music, and I like their later stuff more. The more melancholy, kind of melodic, even slower songs. I've come to actually appreciate their slower songs more. But you do have to be in a certain mood for it, you know, because there's certain moods you come in and you just want to hear just like the loudest, fastest possible song ever, and that's not Insomnium. That's not what they do. So you probably go to a different band for that. And when you feel like you need this kind of atmospheric and this beautiful and this kind of almost like, I would say almost like borderline orchestral approach to music, I think Insomnium really shines here. I've mentioned this before also. It's like I absolutely understand why they climb the charts in Finland, and I wouldn't be surprised they climb metal charts in general all over the world, despite being in the more extreme genre of heavy metal. Let's see what the song is about.
Once upon a time, when the years flew brightly by, you held my hand through the night. You held my heart. Manifold is the misery now, and the joys turn to woe.
Is this about loss or addiction? That's what I'm not sure about. We'll see. I mean, that seems can be a very similar theme in Insomnium at all, and you know that's something I can also relate. My eldest brother actually passed away in 2001. You know, shortly after I lost my grandma, shortly after I lost my grandpa. So it's something. Unfortunately, we're all going to be very familiar with if you live long enough to see those kinds of things. And addiction is another thing that I've actually seen, whether it be alcohol or drug addiction. Unfortunately, I've seen it in my family, or you know, it's a hard thing to see in first person. And you know, as a kid, you interpret it in a different kind of way, but as an adult, especially this happening to your, whether it be your parents or your cousins or your brothers or sisters, it's we all to some level of extent will experience something like that.
Alone in this tiny tower, I wait for the dawn. I listen as if in a dream, the wail of the winds, but no one calls my name anymore, for no one dares. No song will resound, no wail will rise, no cry will be heard when curtain falls. Stars look down on me from the thrones in the dark heavens. Do they see inside my soul?
Yeah, if I'm just based on the visuals, I think it's addiction. I think this song might be the Antagonist, right? Addiction, and nobody will remember this person because how they wither away and fade away and turn into something that they're not even recognizable anymore.
When I fell from grace,
this band has been around for a while, right? They've been here since 90s, I believe, mid 90s. So that over well, almost 20 years now. Wow. I think he might need a personal trainer, to be honest. I'm a personal trainer. If he needs help, I can help him out. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can listen to that's depressing, you know? And it seems like to be a main theme in Insomnium's music, or the mellow death music in general tends to be quite depressing and sad. That'd be one of the reasons why I don't listen to it all the time. Because, you know, you're already dealing with your own problems. Sometimes you don't want to always hear something that's hard, but at the same time, I do appreciate somebody has to tackle these kinds of topics. And I think Slayer have said, I've mentioned this before on this channel, Slayer said this one time when they were criticized for writing Angel of Death, that they are promoting violence or something like that. He goes, first of all, you don't understand what the song is about. Like, the song is about history of what happened, what actually happened. And he goes, second of all, there's some people like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera or other pop and Bruno Mars who sing about happy things and love and all these kinds of things, and then there's us who sing about the negative side of life and the more harsher parts of life, and they're both important. You can't have the negative without the positive. You can't have the sad without the happy. They have to be there both. Now we're on to the last song of the EP, called The Wanderer, and there was a wonderful image of some butt cheeks on the thumbnail, so perhaps the music video or the song is going to be about something different. We'll see. I have no idea. The songs seem to be thematically connected, but I am not. I kind of gave my thoughts already on the past couple songs. Let's see what we got with this one. I like the acoustic guitars. They sound really pleasant, really nice. I mentioned already a couple of times, the production is absolutely crisp on this album. I should say EP. You know what I've noticed? I've said this in the interview with Ethereum as well, with Ponas, that I said this about Ethereum, but it seems to be a common theme in many European metal bands. There's a very, very strong connection to nature and the land of where you live in those countries overall, and it seems to be something they're very, very proud of. Which I would say the same about Russia. If I had to talk about it, I'd be very proud of it, its geography and its vast kind of diversity in land. And growing up in a more rural town, there was a connection with nature for me more than it is obviously in New York City, which is an urban jungle.
Towards the daybreak, this crown on my forehead feels like a burden. This golden pendant now way down my neck, and the wine in my mouth will taste like ashes. And still I roll with broken knees. I wonder, and still I roll till the end of day.
Yeah, it seems like they chose to go with the slower songs for this EP. First of all, I wanted to ask, what's the thinking behind releasing an EP instead of a full album? Were they just kind of limited on studios time, or they going back to tour? Like, what was the reason for not just, with pandemic and all, they could have just written a whole full-length album. Why release just an EP, especially from a band that's able to release a full album? They have the budget. And this particular EP is the first time hearing something from beginning to end, a full-length EP or album from Insomnium. It does seem pretty one note in a sense that every song is on the slower side. Every single song this kind of has this, it feels like one continuous song, and I believe it's cool maybe hearing it on the EP, but hearing 12 songs in the same vein, it's like at some point in time, I think fatigue might set in for me personally. But let's see how this song also progresses.
I sold my poor soul to unfold the secrets. I lost my poor soul to possess the riches, and still I crave for more and more to satisfy my
By the way, the whatever actress they have in this music video, she looks like a dancer. That's a beautiful female body, in my opinion. She's really pretty. Yoga. I'll be honest though, I don't know why she's in the music video. I don't know how she adds to the story of the overall song. And that looks like one of the Hobbit houses, kind of, from Lord of the Rings. I like that transition with the guitar where they speed it up a little bit. No, it's definitely, the song got better and better as it went on, and it only improved. And we'll wait until in the end until I give a kind of a full review of the album as well. Yeah, it looks like it's over. Hold on. So there we go. That was the whole reaction to the Argent Moon 4 songs EP. And I want to give my overall thoughts and kind of review of this EP as well. Now, from a songwriting standpoint, I think it has this really strong emotional foundation, and the songwriting was very interesting. It is a little bit one note for me. Because the songs tend to be all pretty slow, and even within the slow, let's say that's just the style they play, I felt like there could have been a little bit more variety personally. And that'll be probably the only criticism, to be honest, because it doesn't overstay its welcome. You know, maybe perhaps that's the reason they released an EP with these 4 songs. It's just a nice balance. You never get fatigue set in, but I do have this feeling of like, I wish there was a little bit more variety. With the last song, The Wanderer and Reticent being my 2 favorites from this EP, without the songs being interesting overall. It's my first time doing like a review of an Insomnium full piece of work that they've released. And you understand why they have the reputation that they have. You understand why they've garnered the fans that they have, because it's a melancholic, moody, doom metal-ish, melodic death metal kind of music that it's made for particular. I think it's made for a particular type of listener that's just going to be into it right away. And despite this might not be, you know, my favorite death metal band I've ever heard of all time, the respect has to be given to the complexity of the music. Despite it sounding simple, it's absolutely not simple. I think it's quite complex and quite layered. The lyrics is something that I have to dive deep into on a second and third and fourth listen to kind of get the more, because they're not direct lyrics like some like Exodus or Slayer, which is pretty direct with the lyrics of what they're talking about, or Sepultura, for example. They're more poetic and metaphoric and symbol. You know, there's a lot of symbolism in their music to kind of portray what they were saying. And I think maybe the music videos helped get some of those messages across. Some of them didn't, like The Wanderer. It was just them sitting in a nice, you know, area outside in a beautiful kind of nature with a pretty girl dancing around and whipping her hair. The music videos I appreciate from all of them, because I like having visual imagery to my musics, and when it's not just a lyric video, or let's just take it, you know, record in a studio and where that's the music video there. I tend to like when there's something going on. Overall, I would give it like a solid, if I had to give it a rating, for example, in my head, the initial feeling I give is like an 8 out of 10. I think it has great songwriting. It's emotional, impactful. It has really good production, but it comes short of something that I would say, from me personally, classic is I think there could have been more variety in the songwriting. And I mean, really, that'll be the notch that really kind of does it for me. For some reason, at the end of the whole album, I thought I'll be left wanting more, and I was just kind of done with it. And I was like, oh, that was cool. I don't have a burning desire to listen to it from the beginning to the end again, which typically is not the case when I listen to an album that has some kind of an effect on me, like Iron Maiden Senjutsu. I listened to it twice right off the bat. I needed to listen to a second time. Aborted, when I heard Mania Cult, I wanted to hear the second time around because I was excited to hear certain songs over and over again. And I think because of this kind of slower nature of the songs and same rhythm throughout the whole album, the songs tend to sound the same from one to the other, with their own obviously varieties, of course. But that'll be my personal criticism, or perhaps the reason why for some people this becomes their favorite band, and for me personally it becomes a band that just I enjoy, but not necessarily something that I would put on a top tier list of melodic death metal bands on my personal list. So I would leave it there with my review. I would like to hear your opinions on this EP. Did you enjoy it more than me, less than me, about the same? What criticisms do you have on my view of this album and my review of this album? I would love to hear from you as well. Let's have a conversation about it. And just remember, if you're a passionate fan of Insomnium, it's just my opinion, right? It's just a pool of different people coming in with their own feelings and thoughts, and we come somewhere in the middle to have a nice conversation. That's all there is to it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction / review. Keep it metal out there and have a good one.